All right, what is up, podcast? Welcome back to Paradise on Fire. It's only been 2 months, and I think we could maybe lie and pretend like we were like doing seasons, and this is the beginning of season two, and we just had a 2 month break.
Oh, that's what it was.
That's what it
Yeah,
was.
Like
yeah.
we come back with new hair and like.
Exactly. We did it on purpose. So this is season two of Paradise on Fire, but actually we were kind of just being bums, and we had a decent amount of stuff going on. So today, most of the kind of thing is going to be like catch up of what the fuck's happened in the last 2 months and where we've been. It's weird because we all have other social media accounts, so everyone knows everything. But go into more detail, I
Yeah,
guess.
but even your social media, you're not very like obviously everyone's gonna know you won the Olympia, but like you don't like talk about your feelings on your social media.
Yeah, that's true.
Your social media is very like to the point.
Plus, I don't really know him yet.
You don't know what.
Like his feelings of winning and stuff. I
Well,
mean, I know, but I don't. Not in depth, in depth.
yeah, you guys haven't like I mean you weren't there, so I feel like you weren't like getting the
Yeah,
actual emotional reaction.
yeah. I didn't get to see the crying,
Yeah,
and
so Matt's pit of the last 2 months is not
yeah,
making it to Olympia.
yeah. My pit has
That's
been
it
that
for
just growing.
2020.
Yeah, just growing and growing for not making it there.
Oh,
So I guess I could start with my pit then, and so I about a week before, probably a week before you guys went to Orlando, I started feeling like somewhat of headaches or something, and I just thought it was nothing. And then I had one night I think I had just gotten to the gym, and all of a sudden I got the worst migraine I've ever had, and I don't get migraines, and I didn't even know that was a symptom of COVID. So I ended up getting this migraine. I couldn't really see, I couldn't really stand or anything like that, and then I just ended up going home. Next morning, I woke up and I couldn't smell or taste anything. And migraine was still there, still couldn't see. Lights were bothering me. And then that's when I started literally getting every symptom you could think of, except for not like I was able to breathe okay. That was fine. But every other symptom they basically said, like I just started getting like every hour after that. So I like as soon as I woke up and I couldn't smell or taste, I called up Chris and I was like, hey man, I'm gonna just tell you right now, I might have COVID. So I was like, I gotta go get tested and everything else. Because once I lost the taste, I'm like, that's not a good sign. So I basically went and got tested. Did not the rapid one because the rapid one isn't that, I guess, accurate. So I went and got the other one. That took about 3 or 4 days. But by that time, I already knew I had it because I was on basically sleeping probably 16 hours out of the day for probably the first 5 days, and then probably by like day 8, I think the worst things probably was like my body not being able to regulate temperature. So like it would be like 80 degrees in the room I'm sitting in, but my body felt like it was like 30. So for like an hour to 2 hours straight, I just felt like chills that wouldn't go away, and then it would go directly to the opposite of just being super hot. But yeah, I had that for about 10 days. I think I had like 1 or 2 good days, and then I had fallen asleep, got back up the next morning, and I had vertigo. So I had vertigo then probably for another 3 days. Meanwhile, I made sure to watch all of the shows and everything. I got the prejudging and I got the finals, obviously, but just not being able to be there and help you guys out, and it would just suck because like both you and Ian were doing it. So just like especially because you won and Ian got seventh. Like I know like Ian must have been like in the clouds, like being seventh, and like
he
that
was
was
the
the best.
happiest little kid ever.
Yeah,
Like,
like, and you could just tell like him going into there, like it was like the Olympia from when he did it last time. Like you could just tell he was like a kid in a candy shop, like no stress, no pressure on him, and he went out there and like he just did it. And you did the same thing. Especially what was good for me to see is even through all of it, like you didn't have to deal with like the kidney stuff going into it with all the water retention, and like just knowing that and like knowing you were in a good spot, like it kind of like helped me just know that if I wasn't there, like you were still okay with at least that stuff. So that was my pit for not making it there.
I have a question before we talk about like your like sad, emotional, like not being there for him, which is so cute. But like when you say you can't taste anything,
Nothing.
when you put something in your mouth,
You just get the texture of the food.
it's nothing.
Nothing.
Actually,
Nothing.
I
Like
can't even
literally.
fathom. Like
Like
I
you
feel
like here's an example. So I had one day, someone said to have like apple cider vinegar. It was like an apple cider vinegar tea, but it was literally just like 3/4 apple cider vinegar in the cup.
Okay.
And they brought it over to me and they said like, hey, have this. And it was like lemon and something else and honey. But like normally I hate apple cider vinegar. Like I can't stand it. Brought it over and I'm like, what is this? I couldn't smell what it was. Apple cider vinegar you can smell like 100%. And I started drinking as if it was just water. And they looked at me like, they're like, that's disgusting. And I was like, what? And they're like, that's mostly just apple cider vinegar. And I was like, I got nothing. I literally couldn't tell you what this was.
I'd be curious to take like a shot of vodka.
I don't think it like I did it the one day just to see because I was like maybe like alcohol. I was trying anything. I was like maybe alcohol would help anything,
That's
and
not
still
good.
then I had nothing.
Jesus. Just casually, I did take a shot.
Yeah, but I was trying to think of like what's like the thing that I could probably smell the most too, and I was like I gotta go find who had weed, and I was like I couldn't even smell weed. Like I was like that's just ridiculous.
What?
Couldn't smell well, and then like I wasn't hungry to begin with, like just because I was like tired all day and everything else. But like as soon as I lost the taste and I like put anything in my mouth, I lost my appetite even more because I just the texture of food alone is just gross, apparently to me at least.
Your body is not used to that. Like
No,
that's
like with that plus COVID, I think I lost 20 to 25 pounds because I just wasn't eating, and then it was hard to get water in. It was hard to get anything else in, so. Then one day I was like, screw it. I'm not going to try and eat chicken and rice. I think I ordered Chick-fil-A on like day 9. And like by day 9, I couldn't taste the sandwich or fries, but I could taste a little bit of chocolate chip cookie that I got. I need calories. And I'm like, that's my saving grace. So I had a cookie and I started tasting it there. But for like 3 or 4 days afterwards of getting somewhat of taste back, things didn't even taste like what they tasted like before. So like a banana, it was probably the worst tasting food I've ever tasted after like trying to get my taste back. It was like it tasted like I was literally eating like chemicals from in like dirt and stuff. It was so bad.
So weird.
God.
Yeah.
So strange.
I would be scared.
Well, I was just like, because then you were hearing like all these horror stories of people that were going like 6 months without taste, and I was like, oh, I'm like, and I love food, so I was like, oh, this is not gonna end well for me. And luckily, it was only for about like 10 days of the smelling and the tasting, but. I know some people that like came back to like the gym later on that had it before me, and they were like 3 months in of no taste.
That even 10 days to me seems like a very long time.
Well, you start thinking to yourself like this is never gonna come back.
Yeah,
100%.
you would. You'd
For
be
sure,
like,
yeah.
I'm never gonna be better.
No. So that was tough. I mean, I think like the COVID thing, like that was bad, just like with everything with the fever. Like my fever, I think got like 103.6. And that was okay with all there. Like obviously you couldn't move much. But honestly, like the vertigo after was probably like the one where I had it like really bad where I couldn't even walk or stand or anything. So I think that one was more scary after the fact that it happened. When I wasn't sure if it was like still related to it. But I think like the thing that bothered me the most was I had seen my parents for like one day, I guess, when I had my headaches. So it was right before the migraine. So I must have given it to them at the same time on that one day. Or I must have given it to my dad because they both got tested and he was positive and my mom was negative. But she also got 2 rapid tests during the 14-day period, both showing negatives. But she had all the symptoms that my dad had. And then when she went to go get tested afterwards for antibodies, she had the antibodies, which means that she had it, but her test showed negative. So that was another weird thing.
I think that's just the common theme.
Yeah.
This whole entire thing.
Yeah.
It's unknown.
Your parents are okay though, obviously.
Yeah, my mom, hers was like the same thing as me. She had all the symptoms for 10 days and then she ended up getting vertigo too. My dad, while recovering, got pneumonia. So he had that for another like a week and a half after. So luckily he had no issues with breathing and he's had it before. So he kind of like knew. But like by day 14, he still had a fever. So we're like, it's definitely not like COVID anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had gone back to like the doctors to make sure if he was okay. And it kind of like felt weird because like at the end of it, when mine was gone, I'm like, all right, I could like be around people who are sick. Like I can't get anything right now. Because I think for like at least whatever they said for 3 months, like you have antibodies to not get it. So I was like, oh, like it felt like good to kind of just like move around normally.
Relax.
Yeah.
I mean, after being locked in your house for that long, I feel like anything would probably feel good though.
Well, just like going outside for a walk, like felt amazing.
Yeah.
for sure.
Cause
Oh,
like I was just trying to like my back started to hurt so bad because you were in bed all day. So I would either like I would make like a floor bed to try and switch it up. I would do that. I would anything I could do to like move. And even by like day 7, I was like my back is destroyed. Like I can't even move.
ugh.
And then in my head, I'm like I'm not eating. I'm getting smaller, and this is just awful.
That's just another beast. That
Yeah, like that's just the mental part of it.
yeah.
But and then of course, like I mean I wanted to be obviously in Orlando, so that at the same time was
Sad.
sad at the same time. So
Yeah, the timing couldn't have been much worse.
no, it literally was like I was thinking in my head, like of the 9 months of COVID, like it literally was like the exact same time of the pushback Olympia, not even like the normal time Olympia, but the pushback one. But like even like I know I talked to you about it, and at the same time, I'm like, your parents were gonna be there. Like you said, like maybe go get another hotel, and I'm like, but your parents are gonna be there. Our tickets would be in the same spot. Like I wouldn't want to risk your parents getting sick, you know.
It's also just traveling and be around a lot of
Yeah, so I was just because I was at that point, I think I was at like the 14-day mark, but obviously, like you could I asked different doctors, different nurses. No one could give you like an actual time frame of is it 10 days you're not contagious, 14. Some said it's like you could test positive still for like 30 days after, but like you're not contagious. So like no one was giving me like an actual real answer that you could use.
Yeah.
So, but you guys had a good time.
Do you have a peach, or is your whole last month just?
I mean, I guess my peach would just be that like everyone was okay, like especially my
No
parents.
one-
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was kind of like my biggest thing out of the whole thing. I don't know, but other than that, everything has been pretty good actually.
No
But
complaints.
Mexico
About
looked
you.
fun.
Me?
Yeah. What are you gonna say?
I don't know. What are you
Should
gonna
I
say?
go?
You go, yeah.
You'll probably be long. I mean, I was on here, I feel like 3 weeks ago with Iain.
Yeah.
Um, my pit for the last 3 weeks is probably I had a hiccup with my renovation, which
Why is it so with your pit?
because it's very stressful, and it's also like I think I've been really spoiled that it's been so easy. You know what I mean? Like people always say renovations are so hard. So then when everything goes good and then something goes bad, I'm like not mentally prepared for it. And
Yeah.
like it's the same cabinet people that made the mistakes. And it was just like the cabinets came in, the installer was there, he's ready to put everything on the wall and like do his job. And it should take him 4 hours. And the cabinets were all the wrong colors, the wrong pieces, like broken, like all these. The moving company missed half of my like shipment and left it at the warehouse. And it's just like everything's so time sensitive. So I have this installer there that I brought in from Quebec, and he's like, oh, I can't do anything because none of these pieces are right. And then like that's not the end of the world, but then when I contact my contact to fix this, there's like there's nothing. It's just the same idiot that did the first mistake that's just like, oh well, I don't know what to say. And I'm like, this can't be real life. Like this actually cannot be real. So I mean, we figured it all out, and I probably was more anxious than I should have been. um and my contractor is actually like not the cabinet guy, but the contractor that actually ripped out my walls and did everything. He's very good at problem solving. So even if he doesn't like have control, he can tell me what to do to like make sure it works and without charging me thousands of extra dollars. So I was so thankful for him. And then I mean my peach is probably that, well, I have two peaches because one is that the kitchen is almost done. It should be done in like a week, which is nice to see the end of the tunnel, so to say. And then my other pit is that I started a prep diet 2 weeks ago, and I'm like so happy about it. Like I was scared that I had to start like weighing my food again and eating the same thing, and like it actually feels really nice to do it.
When was the last time you've weighed your food like that?
Before the Arnold.
Oh wow.
So like
2018?
no, March 2019.
So like were you anxious going into like so like I'm assuming Ian put the diet together for a couple days or like the day of and was like, okay, you're starting it?
We did it together the night
Okay.
before. We always do it together because he knows I won't follow
Yeah,
it.
if he made a gift to her, she'd be like, no, change this. Too many meals, too much food.
So that obviously helps. And I don't think I like was a bit worried. I was like, oh, what if like I do this and I start to like resent it? Like, what if I'm like all of a sudden like back in that place? But like I'm not the type of person that like if I have those feelings, it like overcomes me and I like start to have like doom thoughts. So I had that a little bit. And then the next day when I like didn't have to think about what to eat or how much to eat, or even going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And it's just like you don't get to pick, so just do it. It was like very comfortable.
Yeah. Was it just like getting back to the routine was just felt like you again?
Yeah, it didn't feel hard. It didn't feel forced. And I didn't feel like anything was missing, you know?
Yeah.
Like you always have that fear too of like, oh, well, I'm going to miss the freedom of choice of what to eat. I'm going to miss like being able to do whatever I want. And like, listen, I'm not saying when like 8 o'clock rolls around, I'm like, fuck, I miss that I could used to be able to go eat like, make a mug cake or something or eat Cool Whip. But like, I mean, I'm having one cheat a week. So it's not like going 7 days without and like controlling yourself is really that difficult.
Did you feel in 2019 when you started prep that it was like you missed something, resentment, you were forcing it and didn't feel good?
Yeah, when I started, I don't think I was ready to go back into prep in 2019 because I did the Olympia and then I had like, I don't know, 2 months off. September,
Well, you had the wedding in between there and everything.
October, November. Okay, so like 2.5, 3 months, and then I started prep in December.
You were prepping for a year, like a year before.
Yeah. So when I started prep in 2019 for the Arnold, first of all, I knew Christmas was coming. And in my head, I knew that I didn't have the time to have Christmas. So right away, I was pissed. Right away, I was like, I can't do anything like my birthday, blah, 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 blah. And then I just wasn't ready to go back to like such strict. I mean, there was probably a lot of things that like went into it, but yeah, when I started in 2019, there was something missing. When I started prep, I was like, oh, I don't want to do this because I can't do this. Whereas this year, I don't really have that emotion whatsoever.
Did this year's like Olympia with Chris and Iain like light more of a fire for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, the fire was lit after I went to see Iain in New York.
Yeah, it was lit before the Olympia.
Yeah, and then when I went to the Olympia, I was just like, I was at the athletes meeting with Iain, and I went inside and I was sitting, and I was just like, I was fucking like salivating at the mouth. Let's be serious. Yeah. It was very like, I need to be here next year. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
I think I looked at Iain while I was sitting there and I was like, this is so special and I need to be back. And he was just like, you will. And like, it just feels like right. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'm very thankful that it feels so like I don't have a choice in the matter anymore.
Yeah. Do you think like with the shows kind of being pushed back this year, like you feel even better about the situation for this year?
Yes.
Like you said, because you kind of can plan it around, like you said, you still get your holidays and everything else, but you can still do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. I honestly think I would have done that either way. But I'm doing something else too, which is I won't share right now. I'll share eventually, but I'm doing something else that I need that extra time anyways. So everything's just unfolding very nicely, to be honest. And I think that's a combination of like my positive attitude as well as my like mindset in terms of being able to pivot and like do anything that I need to do and change anything that I need to change and know that everything is going to unfold properly anyways. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell right now.
Christopher?
That's what I mean now. I wouldn't need questions towards me to get this really going. But
yeah, because I feel like there's almost too much for you right now for you to like talk, you know?
Yeah, my pitch would be probably that I won the Olympia again. and heard that "and still" come out of Bob Chickarella's voice. It was pretty good. The pip, I mean, my peach is probably more so that not that I won it, but just like how it felt. Like I feel like at like 5 days out or something, that would have like that's the feeling I had was like my peach, where I was like posing in the mirror with like Ian and checking in Orlando, and like I looked so much fucking better than I had the year before, and I was like healthy, and my prep had gone well, and I just like sat there and realized like I did it, and it wasn't fucking like stressful, unhealthy, like fighting my body. It was just like went how it meant to be. So like before I even stepped on stage, I was like good. I was like, this is, I did it. I was done. I was ready. There was, I can't remember. There's one specific video I had where like my glutes were in, my back looked fucking twice the size it had the year before, and I was like, holy shit! Like, I don't even know what this is gonna look like on stage, but like, I'm fired up about this already. So that was
Was that before or after the weigh-in?
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't stressed about the weigh-in. You were.
I was very stressed about the weigh-in.
Well, did they tell you like what you thought you would have to weigh for that, or no?
Well, I keep assuming I'm under 6'1", but
Yeah.
last 2 years they had me in at 6'1.5".
Yeah.
So
But
my
that's like
weight
written in stone now.
I mean, I've made a post, I did it, and a couple of other people said in an interview, so I'm hoping it's like out there. Than people.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I weighed myself in, I wore my hoodie and my pants, and I had my phone, and I just didn't give a shit because I knew I had 10 extra pounds to spare, and I wanted to like stay hidden. And then actually, JM Mannion, I'm walking away from the weigh-in. Everyone else had to take their shirt off and like pose and hit front double bicep, and I was the very last person to weigh in because I was the champ. And I'm walking away, I get my hoodie on, unlike everyone else, because I knew I made weight. And then JM's like, Chris, get back here, take off your shirt. We got to get your picture. And then a lot of other people, normally people just leave, but a bunch of people hung around, other competitors, and they're all just like, and they all like look over. I'm like, fuck, people are watching. But I took it off, and I heard some of the judges' faces were like, fuck, he looks good. Like, so like it wasn't a bad thing, but I was hoping to stay a little hidden. But it was a funny moment there.
You think you fucked with their heads a little bit? The other competitors walking with just a full on hoodie, like everything's still in your pocket, and just stepping on the
a little bit, yeah, because everyone's stripping down, making sure they make weight, complaining, like feeling like they're dying, and I'm just there, like fully clothed, not giving a shit. Step on there, I got 10 more pounds.
But like, what do you think that feels like? Like you're like you're the champ from last year, and now you show up and like you pull that shit. So, do you think like in their head they're like, "Fuck, like what did he do?" Like, and then at the end of the day, I mean, you were number one last year and still made, crazy improvements like all around. So, I mean, to do that, I think was even bigger, but like you backed up what you were going to do,
Yeah, I think that was like the craziest shock because like 2019, it was like I felt like such a lesser version of myself. Like I wasn't complete. I didn't feel. I was happy, obviously, and it was amazing to win. But it was like it wasn't me on stage. It wasn't like what I was meant to display. And then to come back this year and do it, and to like finally have that, and to have like the perfect score on the scorecard, and feel like I kind of bridged a slight gap between the rest of the competitor rather than like a close battle. I was like finally like holy fuck, like a little more confidence, cockiness maybe in me that like I've never really had before. Because I never let myself get in my head. People telling me like, "Oh, you're gonna win, like you got this." I'm like, no, I can't listen to that until it happens. And now I'm like, okay, like I still gotta fucking work for it, but I can like believe it more now, and it feels good.
Did you have any words with your buddy Breon afterwards?
I not really, no. I spoke to him briefly on stage, but after that we didn't really talk. But I could tell he was obviously pretty upset that he got third. He wasn't expecting that. I wasn't even expecting that.
Yeah.
But I think he handled it pretty well, and he was rightfully upset. And he's saying he's coming back for another attempt at classic, but maybe he'll be moving to 212 after next year. So we'll see.
I mean, you can't discredit Terrence either, though. I mean, he just like if he was taller, if he was like 3 inches taller, I mean,
Yeah, I'd be in trouble if he
yeah.
I don't think he means like he was rightfully upset because like he didn't deserve third. I think it's just like
yeah, like he's a
he's coming for one. Yeah.
athlete, and he didn't place where he wanted to be. You're going to be pissed. You should be.
Yeah, I don't
Otherwise,
think
you don't care enough.
I think like it's become almost this like thing that you're not supposed to say you're upset with your placing.
Yeah.
But like you being disappointed or upset with your placing isn't you saying like I deserved more or blah blah blah. That's just like part of like not getting what you worked so hard for. You need to let yourself be disappointed and then like pick yourself up and try again, or try something else, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Use it as fuel or move on.
Yeah, but like there is a lot of like, I truly believe that you can be thankful and happy and grateful and still be disappointed at the same time. And
Yeah.
I think when you try to like not be one, then it just like fucks up with the other, you know?
Do you think, I mean, not necessarily him, but maybe some, like, I don't know if there was too much this year, but like last year when he had like the other people outside voices, do you think that kind of is what created a little bit more of what it was? Like with him not necessarily being disappointed, but like kind of coming into this year trying to talk a little bit more and everything else. Do you think that was outside perspective that was coming into his head? Or do you think like he was doing it for other reasons?
You mean how loud he was coming into the show?
Yeah, like he was just like, you know, I'm this, I'm that, whatever. He kept trying to point out Chris's weaknesses and stuff, but like obviously Chris showed up and, you know, proved him wrong in all of those aspects. Do you think, I mean, like again, he
do you
did.
want to answer why you think he did that?
I mean, I think he just believes it's true. I think he thinks he said in the press conference, I believe I have a superior physique to Chris. He said something like that. And I think that's what he believes.
But you would believe the same thing.
You probably
so
should.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I think like, and what I heard in your question, Matt, is like, why do you have to be so loud about it going into it?
Like, is it like an insecurity? Like, say someone for you, like you kind of just tuned everything else out. It was just kind of like, I'm gonna work on me, and I mean, you'll throw your subtle like one liner or just word in there, but it was nothing really more of like it didn't. You would say it, and then it was off your mind in 10 seconds. Like you didn't think about anything else afterwards. You know, you just went back to your prep and your thing. Do you think like that was just something that was in his head because of outside people, or do you think that was truly like an insecurity thing?
Or would it be both?
Oh, I said it could be both.
Yeah, if it's in his head because of other people, so making him kind of insecure, feeling like he had something to prove to other people. Like he had to like I believed that if I showed up at my best, I was gonna win. I was focusing on me. But if he didn't really fully believe that, he had to like convince people by saying it.
I think, and like I observed, I mean, you especially a lot in this prep because I was almost fascinated by how you handled it. But like, I don't know if I think it's like a self knowledge thing or like an introspective thing. I don't know if Breon like knows himself or what he needs to be successful as much as Christopher does. Because like if you're going to like actually take control of your entire life and your outcome and your day or whatever, day by day, every day, as Christopher did for this prep, you're not going to even be thinking about things like that for them to come out of your mouth, let alone almost every time that you're being presented on social media.
Yeah.
It's not an effort for Christopher not to do that because he actually doesn't think about that.
Yeah.
And I think every ounce of energy that you're going to waste on thinking about someone else or thinking that you are superior to others or whatever in comparison, and it's just taking away from you focusing on you and what you can control and what you're doing. And I think you day after day, and every day was a new day, you were only focusing on that.
Yeah, I mean, and that was probably one of my biggest transitions this year, and was a hard transition in competing at a more of elite level. Because when you're competing at amateur shows and you don't know who's showing up, or going to a pro show, you don't know who's going to be there. Everyone's looking different year. You're like changing, trying to get to the top, trying to get up there. There's no like rivalries or like direct comparisons continuously to someone specific every year after year.
No.
So you're not thinking about, you might like be like, this guy's competing, okay, but like it's not like every year it's like, me and Breon, me and Breon, me and Breon. There's not that direct comparison. And in the past, it was always like I was second to Breon, so I got to beat Breon. And I felt like that. And I was like, I got to beat Breon this year. And then after beating him last year, it wasn't even beating him last year that changed it. It was more my mindset over the year that changed. And like I started to see outside of bodybuilding the changes in my life that could come from the relationships with other people or anything, from just making myself better rather than trying to like involve anything other than myself. And when that played into the Olympia this year, like you said, I literally people had interviews with me and they'd ask me about like Breon or something, and it was hard for me to answer because I didn't see him on social media. He wasn't in my brain. No one was, and it was just like I was like, I don't even know what he looks like right now or what's going on with him, but I know I look good right now and I feel good, and that's all that mattered. And I kept feeling better every day, partly because of that and everything else going on. But that definitely was really cool, and even to the point of on stage when I was up there and I was getting ready and I was backstage and everything, I literally didn't even know who was beside me. Like if you would ask me like who's coming second, I'd probably be like, well, probably Breon because he always is. Who's third? I'd be like, I don't know. Didn't even realize when they were moving around on stage. I remember they put me in the middle and I was hitting my poses and it was like I was alone up there. And that was a really cool feeling. And it was the most present I've ever been on stage ever in my life. Like I remember a few times even standing there and like looking at the lights and like looking around and being like, holy fuck, like I feel good right now. Normally I'm just like pose, hit this, do that, like trying not to think. I was just like calm. I was like, fuck, this feels good. And that felt amazing too. And the difference of not worrying about the person beside you, I think displayed in my confidence on stage and how I presented my posing and everything.
Well, and how you spoke after too.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like when you see people that are like in such a high stress, whether it's good stress or bad stress, he just got announced that he won.
Yeah.
And he hadn't prepared a speech, right?
No,
you hadn't even thought about that. And then all of a sudden you're able to speak so eloquently and like
shocking.
I mean, I got a lot of people that reached out to me to say like I didn't know, like even from the press conference to what you said afterwards, they were saying like, that was pretty like they didn't know, number one, that you spoke that way, but at the same time, like the way you present yourself to everyone else in that like moment was pretty cool to see.
I've been his sister since the day he was born. I was in fucking shock. Listen, I'm so happy you won and your body looked so good. But the moment when I was listening to him like speak after he was announced a winner, I didn't cry until that moment.
Yeah.
And I just started crying because I was like, who is this man?
Yeah.
Like, who is this person that is like giving me I don't even compete in classic physique, and he's like literally making me want to. And there was no effort for him to convince anybody of anything. It was literally just him like coming out so powerfully and naturally in his words. And I looked at my mom and I was like, who the fuck is that? Like it was so powerful. And like we all knew it was there, but like there's always these little things that like all of a sudden click, and then it comes out. It was just fascinating. It was really
like I had the goosebumps, and then when you essentially you didn't come out and say it, but you basically called Shaq fat. That was where
the whole crowd was like, "Ooh!" When I did that, I was like, "Oh shit." To be fair though, he DM'd Courtney after because they took a picture together, and he's like, "I love your boyfriend. He's so awesome."
Yeah, he actually did. I can attest to that.
As soon as you said it, I was like, "Oh my god!"
I let that slip out like shit.
That's like one of those things where you're like, "Ew."
Yeah. It was just like one of those subtle things you would do with like your friends and stuff. But when it's Shaq, you're like, he's 7'1".
He'll kill you. Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I haven't even really thought about what brought that out of me. But you're right. It was like actually living it and being able to communicate like how like I actually felt like that. It wasn't like, okay, what do I need to say to like sound like a certain way? It's like, this is just how I feel, just talk. And I haven't ever really been able to speak like that publicly, which I'm horrible at public speaking. That's why that was one of my proudest moments, because I was like, what the fuck? I can't talk in front of crowds. I get awkward, I stutter, my lisp gets worse. So when that came out, I was just like, fuck, like I was just living. That's how I was like actually being before, and I was able to like present it into words, which was really cool. And you said something else there of like people and nerves of whether they're excited or like nervous or like just like intense. And I feel like my mindset will always before going on stage was like, listen to intense music, jack yourself up, like get really intense, like get fired up, like when you're driving to the gym, you're listening to intense music. And like that just is such a fleeting energy to have, and it can just like go like that, and it's never gonna last. And then this year it was more of like just calm, like it was just like chill in the moment. I wasn't like trying to jack myself up, and it wasn't like my quote last year was, if you're nervous, imagine how the fuck they feel knowing they have to go against you. And I remember that like giving me chills and being so powerful. But this year I was just like, I didn't feel like there was anyone going up against me. I didn't feel like the nerves that I had to shut down. It was just like kind of chilling out there, and it was, I don't know, just different. It was fun.
It's something, I mean, I've heard for like, I don't know, the last 10 years of my life, like focus on you and like you are in charge of your reaction and all the, like I've heard that. I've spoken it. I've thought I knew what it meant. I believed it. And I feel like over the last like month, I actually kind of started to actually understand what it means. And it's, you wouldn't say something like that because they don't matter.
Yeah.
Like that's not even, and it's not that it's not rude. It's not like I'm better than them. They don't matter. It's just like, no, I'm focusing on what I can control. And something like that doesn't change me, doesn't change how I react, doesn't change how I perform. So why am I going to even be thinking about that right now?
Yeah.
And like, I feel like listening to jacked up music before, I mean, I understand going to the gym because like you probably need energy, but like I feel like there's too much energy almost when you get on stage and you're nervous.
Yeah.
So like to amplify that, I don't know. I can't do that. I'm usually fucking meditating with nothing in my ears backstage because I'm like I can't.
I had solid music on, but that was just when no one talked to me, and it was more like
quiet, just like
chill or just like
music.
Drake vibe or like
Yeah.
something like chill, you know?
I can't even talk to people. I probably like seem like a bitch backstage, but like I just have to not nothing, you know.
Were
This
you?
year, I had a really cool moment backstage too. They were lining us all up, and they bring everyone out in order of your numbers. And some guy missed his point at the beginning, number 6 or something. And then I was 24, and I was going last because I was the champ. And then they put him behind me, and because he missed his spot, and I'm like second last now, and I'm like standing there. I'm not really saying normally, and I never speak up. I'm always just like, okay. But I looked at the guy. I was like, aren't I supposed to be going last? Like, why is this guy behind me? And they're like, oh, he missed his mark. Do you want to go last? I was like, yeah. And they're like, okay, you're the champ. You can do whatever the fuck you want. And I was like, fuck yeah, cool, okay. And as soon as he said that, I just like walked out of line, and I just went back to the mirror, and they were like, everyone get in line, everyone go. And they're like, Chris, you got 5 more minutes. And I was just like posing in front of the mirror, just like chilling by myself, walking in with everyone else to line up. And I just like was like in my zone over there. And it just felt like I was like, and people, I could see people like, I'd glance over and they were like looking at me doing it. And I was just like in my own world over there. And it felt like kind of just separate. I felt
I feel
cool,
like you deserve that last spot. Like for them to like put someone behind you, like you've already worked for it. You're the champ. Like for someone to then come out after you, I feel it was not like a slap. And I don't think they meant anything by it.
It was an accident. They weren't even thinking. Yeah. That's what not normally like me. I'm just like unspoken. I would just be like, okay, I don't care. Yeah. This year I was like, fuck it, I want to go last.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's like the answer is you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's when you start to be like, yeah, I can.
It's like, oh shit.
And I will.
So how is it with you guys? I know, I mean, I pretty much know, but for everybody else, how is it with you and Iain competing that weekend?
It was easy. It was good. I feel like it was lucky that I'm not lucky, we earned it, we worked for it, but we were on very similar like wavelengths. Our energy was both high. Like I was feeling better than I had in a long time, and everything was going smooth, and Iain was feeling better than he had in forever, and looking the best ever. And like we were both so chill. We were just like napping on the couch. I'd be like, yo, what do you want me to eat? Like, oh, make this, eat that. You know, it wasn't like he wasn't stressing about his shit, and I wasn't stressing about my shit. So we were just like chilling. Yeah. And I keep joking that Melissa and Courtney were 10 times more stressed than me. It was probably 20 times more stressed. But we were actually just like in the zone and enjoying it. So it made it easier, and it made it a lot more fun to have somebody who you could like share that with, and who like really kind of understood how you were feeling, because you're not like just alone in it. So it was good. And he was the other calm head. Funny enough, the other calm head in the house that you were like able to vibe with when you were trying to stay calm yourself. Yeah. So it was really good. And people are like, is it hard for Iain to coach and fucking do that? But like, he just tells me what to eat, and then while he's eating, and then I make my food after him, and then we pose in the mirror at the same time, and he sees how I look in person, which makes it easier, and we go for it. But
I feel like it's almost though like better for Iain too, because then there's no thinking about him. Like it almost is better that he's not even thinking about himself in the moment, right? Like
Well, he
if you
has a
think
coach too, though, right?
no, but I'm
yeah,
saying like for that instance, like so like he'll listen to his coach, and instead of like I don't know if he ever second guesses anything, instead of doing those things or like stressing out, he's just thinking, oh, this is what I need for Chris to do. So he's like at the same time that time that's being like to fill that void that he's like whatever, it's all focused on Chris. So there's really nothing to stress out about, I guess, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just know that he doesn't feel any type of burden in
Yeah.
being that for
Yeah.
Christopher. So like when people say like, isn't it hard? He's just like, well, no, because like there's nothing that takes away whether I'm competing or not. There's nothing that takes away from my like quality of life or my mindset
Yeah.
by coaching him. And like, I mean, Iain is like next level with his like mental clarity and like all these things, like being present and like not being affected by others. Like Iain is very like a master at that. So like even if Christopher was stressed out, for example, like Iain's very good, like almost to a point where you think he's like doesn't really give a shit because he's very good at like
yeah,
being fine when other people are stressed.
Yeah.
So if you were to ask Iain that question, he just wouldn't even know how to answer. He'd be
Yeah.
like, "I like doing it now." Like, what? It's just it's
that's
nothing.
how it's always
It's
been.
nothing. Like that's just what it is.
What was his biggest high after prejudging or after finals?
When he went backstage and when they told him he was seventh for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he finally, because they didn't tell him on stage or after.
Yeah.
Which like they need to change next year. They need to call the top 10
That's what I didn't
men's
understand
open.
why they
Just
didn't
like
do that.
list it quick, and then be like, okay, now we're gonna call it the top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have before, no?
That's what I thought. They used to do that. I thought this year was like the one. I thought they did it the year before, but they didn't do it this year.
It's not just him who cares. I mean, it's like people watching want to know.
Yeah, it's like especially for the open, I feel like the top 10 like people are very curious. So I think when he afterwards he was so happy for sure, and he was like, I want to know like what place I came, and then someone told him to just go backstage and ask, and he disappeared for a bit. I think he went with Julian or something, and then he came back and he was just like fucking like vibing, like it's glowing, like walked up and he was just like, I came seventh. And it was just like he's such like a little kid when he gets this like joy, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And like for sure he was for the rest of that night, you could have like you could have ran over his foot and he would still be like, I'm so happy, you know, like he was just so on top of the world.
I thought they used to do like top 10 or top 12 or something. Wasn't that the case? Then they have it all called out, and this year was just what, top 6?
I thought it was always top 10. Like
That's what I
they
thought.
all get prize money. Like they're all it's like a big deal, you know what
That's
I
what I
mean?
mean, exactly. So you thought
I
they
don't
would have
know.
at least done top
I don't
10.
think they've ever called them on stage, but I think they might have just said it their names.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. I said I
Because
remember
they
the
only
last.
can line up 5 people, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I thought it was like 6 because the old rules used to state like 6 top 6 was qualified for the next year's Olympia.
They they announced top 6, I think.
Oh, okay.
Right? I think they said a key.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I could be wrong. Was he, and then afterwards, did he eat anything off or not really? Did he just kind of stick with it? Oh, did
He
he?
went in the whole time after in Orlando. He went in
Really?
Mexico. He went in. We get to Mexico. There's like bottles in our room. You know what I mean? In the little kitchenette. He just like takes down the vodka. He's like shots, and he's like takes 5 in a row. I'm like, where is my husband? Like what? He was party. He was so happy. He was like, it was amazing.
But I'm sure it like didn't affect his even body at all afterwards. He probably looked better almost too after that. I couldn't imagine, like he posted that picture of him posing by the pool or something. Like what were the looks that you guys, like him specifically, were getting around the resort?
I didn't really notice.
You didn't?
No.
I did, but I was walking around in my double XL Olympia
Yeah.
merch with a hat and glasses, and then he was walking around in short shorts and no shirt and gold fucking aviators. So he's like walking by the pool, and at first people were just like, what the fuck? They're like, yo, look at this guy. Like, not quiet. Some people like drunk by the pool.
Yeah, everyone's drunk at 11 a.m.
And then like the next day you're walking by, like, there he is again. That's the big guy. And like shit like that. And it was like everyone was just like, holy fuck when you walk by. It was pretty fucking. But I look for it. Melissa doesn't.
Yeah.
I'll like be 10 feet back and I'll like see someone look and I'll be like, oh, I want to see the reaction.
Yeah.
And I'll like wait for it. So I find that hilarious.
Did you get any of those? Or not? Like you said, you were probably wearing your hoodie most of the time. Or...
I did a little bit.
He did, especially when they were walking around with their shirts off together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny combo to see.
I mean, you don't see it.
By the end of the week, like I was telling everyone that like they won. You know what I mean? I would say like Iain is 7th in the world and Christopher won, and then eventually the people that worked there must have talked to each other and like either Instagrammed him or someone knew who he was, and then like they all knew he was like champion, you know?
Yeah, they're like, hola, champion. We're at the breakfast buffet and some lady asking for a signature on the receipt. Like,
yeah.
But before, I don't know if she knew I was before too nervous or probably just Googled me after they heard our names or something.
Yeah.
But it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know, about the, what's you call it? Special big man service?
Oh yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Big man specialty or whatever. When you're at places like a resort or something, or even restaurants, wherever, you get like a special service if you're really jacked, and you gotta be nice too, obviously.
Yeah.
And like just nice and happy and smiling, talking to people, but you're like big and different. So they're like, "Oh, you hungry? We give you double service,
more food,
more drinks, more everything you need. Help? What do you need?" You know?
Yeah. Every morning for the omelet, it was like big omelet.
Yeah. He's like, "Can I get an omelet?" Everyone else's comes out like this. Ian's is like 4 times the size.
What was the best food there that you guys had?
Oh my God.
Oh, that's hard. It was like 8 restaurants and they were all like themed different parts of the world almost. Like there was like Asian, French,
different types of food,
Mexican, what was the other, Indian, a bunch of shit, Mediterranean.
I mean, we left the resort one night and went to a restaurant called Tora in like downtown Cancun, and that the food was sushi, but like it was ridiculous. The service was ridiculous. The desserts were stupid, but like all the food was very good. I don't think there was one thing that like I was like, ew.
Yeah.
There's something for everyone.
That was like the fanciest sushi I've ever been to.
Yes, for sure.
Fanciest probably anything I've ever been to.
Yeah, with the like, there was like one waiter, probably 3 waiters per table. Would you say?
There was probably at least enough for one table, like a different waiter for every single table.
Yeah.
Like there were so many waiters there.
Wow.
It was crazy. The service was like impeccable. You'd like sip your drink and it'd be empty and someone would be like, another one? And you're like, yeah, sure. I just finished. But
they had multiple managers that were for each.
Really?
Like 3 managers for 3 sections. So they'd come and make sure everything's okay. And then the servers are all there too. It was wild.
Yeah, that was a good night.
I gotta ask back to the Olympia. You took some pictures with Ramy afterwards. How did it feel next to him? I think the best part was your reaction. Like all you could do was laugh in that one video.
Oh, it fucking killed me.
You can't not laugh when you're with him.
He's so jolly and happy.
Oh my God, he's so sweet.
Yeah, I totally planned that out. The day before they asked me to shoot, and they were like, "Oh well, Ramy's supposed to go before you, but he's always late. So like, we'll say 12, but it might be 1, it might be 2." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Well, can I show up early and see Ramy?" And they're like, "Yeah, for sure." The next morning, they're like, "Yeah, Ramy's nowhere to be found. Do you want to just shoot in the morning?" I was like, "Sure, I guess I can see him." And then we were there, and then like, "Hey, he's coming in 30 minutes." And I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna sit here and wait 30 minutes for him to come. I don't want to miss this." And they were all working out, so I just chilled and waited.
Yeah.
And then he showed up and was just like, comes in with his big grin, slowly walking and talking to everyone, like 4 hours late for his shoot, doesn't care, but just so happy. And then they were asked, it's like, "Hey, Ramy, you want to get some shots with Chris?" He's like, "Yeah, Chris, how are you? Classic physique." Yeah, like what he doesn't speak great English, but just so nice and happy. Yeah. And then we were hitting poses, and it was, it's just funny being beside him. I'm used to being beside someone huge because he doesn't look drastically different from Iain, in my opinion.
No.
Like, when you see him in person, he's not that much bigger than Iain. But then when we hit I asked him to hit a most muscular, and like I always make this intense face when I do it on stage, so we were doing it at him, and he just immediately, he doesn't even smile or laugh at this point. He's like, okay, yeah. He's like, makes his ugly face and just starts flexing in front of me. And I literally started like crying, laughing because it was so funny. And he's just like, oh, this deep laugh.
He has like a lot of control over his like reactions. I feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like he'll go from laughing to just,
yeah.
and I can't do that at all.
No, you just show it all. He's so genuine though. Like even when he walked in the gym and he was meeting people, I was watching it and it was like, I was like watching from like, I think I was on the stairs or something, and I'm watching him like take pictures and say hello, and I was like beaming, smiling because he's just so like genuinely sweet. It was like, I don't know, I was shocked.
Yeah, it's something that's hard to explain, but like when we were at the press conference the day after the Olympia Superstar Seminar or whatever, he was like talking about his story and how like difficult his journey had been all year, but like he didn't have a home for 6 months. He moved from country to country, couldn't see his family for 4 months because of COVID, and how more difficult it was in the Middle East and everything. And he was just like, the way he was talking, it's just like, it's something you can't fake. He was just so genuinely grateful and like honored and happy, and then just like the way he spoke about everything was just so kind and humble. You're like, holy, you're just like so happy for him. You're like so happy that he was the one who got it.
Yeah, it's like this word that like I find like I feel a lot with like people, especially in like North America. It's like entitlement. I feel like when you think of that word and like it doesn't even, that word isn't even English when it comes to him. Like it doesn't exist, you know? And like that's just in all of his interactions, it's like you can tell. It's like, I don't know.
I mean, well, he went home, right? And they had like a parade and everything for him.
Yeah.
They had a full-on fucking parade.
I mean, that was like their World Series or like NBA Finals, like anything. It's like I can't even imagine. Like, and like, is he someone who like he just soaks that all in, like you said, right? He's not really like. I mean, I don't even, like you said, it's not entitlement. It's just more of like he's just so genuinely happy to like have people.
That would never go to his head to mean anything more than it actually does, and he's just so gracious for what it actually does mean. You know what I mean? It's like, it's weird.
Like
how was it after the show? Was it like anybody can walk up to you? Like I didn't know what.
Oh my god,
that was a stressful time.
So they just there was no security.
There was no security.
There was none.
And like
backstage,
Mama lost her shit a bit. I like lost my shit. I swear to God, I was like, I had to leave because I was like, I'm gonna be people. Iain and Christopher walked out, and like Ian's one thing, but Christopher is like a whole nother beast at this point, and people are waiting, and you walk out, and like all of a sudden people like huge swarm just starts to like slowly creep in. No one's, and listen, I'm not really, I shouldn't talk about this at all, but I'm not really like a COVID scared person. Like that's not who I am. But all of a sudden no one's wearing masks, nothing. And there's like a massive group of people, and we're in Orlando. I was just like, are you kidding me? And of course my husband just starts no mask, smiling. Take a photo, touching people, like so happy. Like he wants to. And I think Christopher looked at me and I said to Iain, I'm like, no, we're not doing this. We're going. And Christopher looked at me and was like, let him soak it in. And I was like, you know what? Okay, you're right. And I just looked at Iain and I'm like, think about how many people you're touching right now, how many people are breathing on you, and we are still in Florida. Yeah. And then he kind of like looked at me and I was like, I'm going to go. And then I walked, and then like 2 seconds later, I just felt like Iain's hands. I think I had a backpack on or something, or my shoulders, and Iain's hands were on my shoulders. He's like, just leave me out. I don't want to like. Yeah. Because there was no security, no nothing, and you didn't have to wear a mask.
Yeah. It was like, she's not underplaying it. It was like 5,000 people. Like you couldn't see the exit. You were in like a fucking convention center, and you just couldn't even see beyond people. It was like walking into the Arnold Expo, and then everyone just looking at you and running at you.
Yeah. So it wasn't even like at the Olympia in Vegas where like you're already outside. Like, and you
we were inside.
No, we were backstage at first, and people started coming backstage. Wow. Like where the athletes only area, because there was no one stopping them. And by the time we got out of there, it was just like swarm.
Like you couldn't even get into a car and just drive. Like you were just kind of stuck.
There was a long ass. You have to walk through the whole convention center, and 2 more rooms downstairs, across a bridge, and then you're out to the hotel.
I know. And the thing is, like, you can't fault anybody because like how fast they had to put this show together. Like You know what I mean? But like, I mean, I left Ian and I left Christopher and Courtney, and I think mom and dad. And I had a leather jacket on. I put Ian's head under my leather jacket, and I just fucking, and I was like, you stay hidden under there as much as you can. And I just like got outside, and that was it. I don't know. You were maybe like what, 15 minutes behind or longer?
No, because we got to the room before you guys, but you were downstairs.
Yeah, but we sat outside for a little bit and like decompressed and like hid like outside.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that would, because I felt bad too, because like there were no, like we didn't do the meet and greet this year because of COVID.
Yeah.
We're like, obviously I want to see everyone, but like if we get sick the day before stage, are you 50 people gonna be happy you got a picture and you don't even get to see me compete?
Yeah.
Like, that's not worth it. So we didn't take that risk. And then coming off stage, you're like, oh, it's done now. But like, and my stress of getting sick was gone because I just kept missing the Olympia. But there's still like my parents were there.
Exactly.
Like everyone you're with, you know, you don't want to be responsible for that. But also like what I said to her about Iain and was my confliction was like, I've had plenty of moments where people swarm me and I take pictures. And that the first couple of times it happens, it's so exciting. You're like, holy fuck, like this is so cool. It's so fun. Everyone get a picture. Like, let's do this. Take it all in. Like, you get a little sick of it after a while. Always grateful, but sometimes you're like so tired. You're like, I just need to sit down and like talk to my family. I need to take it easy. But I wanted Iain to like be able to enjoy that. And like, it was his first moment at the fucking Olympia where he's like one of the best in the entire world, and everyone's like really recognizing that he finally like showed that to people. But like COVID kind of ruins it. Just it was like and she was talking about Iain can like feel his way and not stress about other people. I like felt like I wanted to take my pictures, but then she was stressed. Courtney was stressed to me, and I was like worried about them, but wanted to do my own thing, and I was very conflicted. And it was like back and forth, and took a bunch of pictures. Then we ended up just running down, and I was walking backwards for a while, like, okay, just take a selfie, just don't touch me.
Yeah.
People were, like blurry selfies, like doing it. Someone took her baby and was like threw her baby at me. I was like, what the fuck? It was crazy. People were pulling on your, like after a while we're like grabbing my arm and pulling it.
It's tricky because like in my head I was like, it only takes like 2 or 3 people to like start pushing through, and then it's like everyone sees it happening, and then everyone starts, and then it's okay, it's appropriate to do. And I was like, I mean, honestly, if it wasn't COVID, I wouldn't have really cared at all. I would have been like, let it rip, whatever. And like, I looked at Iain outside, and I'm like, you will have plenty of years and plenty of opportunities where it will be like this, and probably even better. So don't worry.
It's
so that was the stressful
thing that I'm realizing is difficult. And when I hear people complain about like blah blah blah's an asshole because they wouldn't take the time to take pictures with their fans and shit, and like you don't know how many pictures they've taken with other people, and like people aren't respectful about it. Like some people are pulling people's arms and like grabbing your clothes and like yanking you different directions. You're like, I'm still a human. I just got off stage. I'm trying to process what just happened there, and now I'm being yanked in different directions for shit. It's like, I don't know, it's hard. And then you can't really be an asshole because everyone's gonna be like, Chris was an asshole because he didn't do this to me. And you're like, I want to take pictures. I want to spend as much time with you as I can, but it just isn't the best opportunity for it right now. So that was that. That was an interesting part though. But it was such a shit show.
It was like a crazy.
I was sorry, when you said they were like people were sneaking or not. I mean, I don't know if they were sneaking or just walking right through to the athletes only part. Like that was pretty.
They were just walking right through.
Especially after the show was over. It was just like.
Because normally in Vegas, it's like you have like the stage and no one can really get to that backstage area.
Well, there's like a huge hall, right? There's like a really long hall, and then like a door basically. Whereas this, it was just a room that had a stage set up, and then like
a fake wall,
a fake curtain wall,
a half wall. And then when I came off stage, there was no one back there. Like they have a sick gym set up and all the mirrors, and it was just empty. And Terrence waited behind because he wanted to chat with me because he was just like excited and wanted to get a picture with me and shit. And we started taking pictures with Calvin because there was no one back there, so we're getting cool backstage photos. And then like I hadn't seen anyone at this point. I was just like kind of excited, taking it all in. And next thing I knew, there was just like swarms of fans taking pictures backstage. And I hadn't even seen anyone in my family yet. I was like, what the fuck? I couldn't even find them for a while. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Did you like it better? I mean, I think you've already said it to a bunch of people, but like the differences between Orlando and Vegas, like huge difference.
I mean, like I don't care at the end of the day. Like as long as I'm getting on stage, it's not a huge difference. But it's hard to compare something that they had set up for 10 years
Mm-hmm.
at the Orleans. Like I don't know how long, like literally 10 years. They've been perfecting it in this one
Yeah.
building,
Mm-hmm.
and then this was 3 weeks. They had to set something up, so like you can't compare that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the week before, Orlando
Yeah.
for sure, because we had a house instead of a hotel. We're not on the strip. We found a gym that wasn't fucking crazy busy, and we could like do our own thing over there. Grocery stores were easier to access. Everything like that was easier for me.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas is just so touristy strip that like
Yeah.
you don't want to like live there for a week
No.
unless you're partying.
Oh, not that either.
Did you get your sandwich, your wrap afterwards?
I didn't eat anything afterwards, really.
What did they still have like the athlete thing meeting after? Or whatever.
Yeah, but I did make it to that. We didn't even get home in time to make it to that.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God, I feel like what time was it by the time we even got to a restaurant? It was like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it wasn't really a restaurant, it was a bar at that
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
right? That you couldn't hear yourself speak.
I'm like in the last 4 years I've been at the Olympia, I'm yet to do the right thing after. I'm yet to like listen to myself and what I want and do it. I haven't done it yet. The next year, hopefully my year. Like I don't know why I'm like they're going to a restaurant I don't want to go to. My head's hurting. I didn't want to be around loud lights or music. I just like my eyes were hurting. I was like I could have just gone home. No one would have fucking cared.
Yeah.
But I like went out and just sat there and didn't eat. Didn't want to eat pizza and wings.
I mean, we also all would have gone home, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But I also wouldn't have cared if I went back by myself and
Yeah, but
like,
no, like, I don't even know where the restaurant came from. It was something that like Courtney Googled or something
Yeah,
because we were
yeah.
so desperate. But like,
everything's closed.
if it would have been like, yo, let's go get, I don't know, Iain would have chosen to go through the fucking McDonald's drive-through and go home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Iain didn't care at that point. Iain was just happy as a pig in shit to do anything.
Yeah.
I still can't believe he ate like that for like for there and then Mexico.
You should have fucking seen the day after. I think was his worst. When was the day he went upstairs and like died? Because he ate like a
Well, that was the
gallon of ice cream.
Yeah. So the next day, Chris, is that when you had the shoot?
Yeah.
So we left for Courtney. We left for something in the morning, and Iain didn't come.
Oh no, my seminar.
Oh yeah, Christopher had a seminar, and then Courtney and I went to drop Christopher off, and then went and did groceries so we could cook like healthy-ish, nice breakfast.
Yeah.
Come home. Iain had ordered Uber Eats Dunkin' Donuts. Probably 4 takeout bags of like breakfast sandwiches, I think a donuts, like something, and then we cooked healthy-ish breakfast.
Yeah.
I made Iain like bagel and lox because he's obsessed with smoked salmon, and then he had like a breakfast burrito wrap.
I'm obsessed with breakfast burritos.
Yeah.
I eat those every day.
Yeah, and then I think maybe there was something else he had, and then we went to work out, and then we came home, and Courtney and I had to leave again to do something. We came back. Iain had ordered Chick-fil-A to the house. Was it Chick-fil-A?
No, he ate something right after the gym in the house. I can't remember what it was. He had something, but then we were going out to eat at sushi.
We went to Moo or New. What's it called?
Moo.
Moo.
We're going to this Moo place, which is like, was it burgers?
No,
What was it?
no, Moo was like I swear it was some sort of like Latin fusion food, but fuck, it was actually really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were like, I was like full going to eat. I'm like, yeah, I can't eat because we're going to eat. He literally orders like 3 burgers and an extra large milkshake and chili cheese fries
from Chick-fil-A.
From Shake Shack.
Shake Shack, that's what it was.
And I shit you not, he ordered them. I'm like, how the fuck are you eating this before going to dinner? You're insane. And then I like go pee and come back and it's gone.
Oh my god.
He just demolished it. And then we go to dinner, demolishes it.
And then on our way home, everyone decides they want to get snacks. So we go to Walmart
Yeah.
and we get snacks. And that's when he got there was like a big tub of, I think it was Bluebell. Is that a brand in the
Yeah,
States?
yeah.
A gallon.
Yeah. So he wants this specific flavor that's like Christmas sugar cookie something, but it doesn't come in the small ones. It only comes in the big ones.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck it, I'll just eat it and then throw out the rest.
There was no throwing out.
We get home and he's like, okay, just put a little bit in the bowl for me and then put it in the freezer. I'm like, okay. So I like put, I mean, a lot of ice cream, like
It was a big bowl.
like fucking 4 big scoops, and it's gone in 5 minutes, I swear. And then he's like, can I have some more ice cream? I'm like, yeah, do you want me to just leave it out? And he's like, no, just give me a bit more and then put it back in the freezer. I'm like, okay. So I fill it up again. It's gone again. He's like, fuck, this is so good. I could just eat this all night. Can I have a little more? I'm like, I'll just give you the tub. He's like, no, put it in the bowl. I'm like, okay, but I'm leaving the tub out because I'm not coming to fucking back and forth serve you anymore.
Yeah.
So I give him the bowl and I put ice cream in the bowl and I just leave the tub beside him. I looked back like 10 minutes later and he was mashing the gut, like the tub, just like bowl was empty on the side, just mashing the tub. And I think he ate some like peanut M&Ms or something. And then he just went upstairs because there was like a living room upstairs. And he said he just lied on the couch and like died.
Yeah.
And then like died on the toilet and just was like dying. And
Yeah, he was like, his belly was just exploding.
yeah, he's like, I can't even explain. He's like, the amount of pain I was in, I've never had before from eating.
Was he like profusely sweating too?
He slept in a different bed than me that night, to be
Probably.
honest.
Probably.
There was enough.
Slept in the Mickey Mouse room.
Yeah, there was enough bedrooms that on some nights he stayed in his own room. Oh no, but it was actually really nice to see him just like let loose.
Yeah.
That's like what he needs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Courtney made like egg white mug cakes.
Yeah,
But
Christopher
that
and
was-
Courtney don't really eat food like that ever,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Or like she'll like eat like 2 mug cakes made with like pumpkin and egg whites, and she'll be like, oh my god, I ate so much last night. I'm like, okay. You don't live in the Bumstead Belliere household because
No.
that was like a regular Monday snack for us.
Yeah.
I'm more of the sense of I like to eat something every day and not make myself feel like shit. Like I've had quesadillas every single day and breakfast burritos every single day.
But you're still
But-
making them, so they're not like unhealthy.
No, they're not
Oh no,
unhealthy
they're not
at
healthy
all.
at all. No,
No.
but that's what I mean. I do like little things consistently instead of like big ones like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when I do big ones like that, I feel like shite.
Yeah. How was coming home after Mexico? For you guys, then you went to Chicago?
Yeah, I went to Chicago, and that, I mean, I actually like being in Chicago because Courtney's family is super nice, and her mom has like a place that we always stay in, and I feel like it's my house and it's just chill. But I felt so shitty, and I thought I was getting COVID because I had migraines. Like I had them in Mexico, and then they kind of went away, and then they came back when I got there. For like 4 days, I couldn't I didn't look at my phone. I couldn't look at light. I was just trying to like roll up my neck because it hurt so bad. I couldn't sleep. I was sleeping in a different bed from Courtney, and I was just like, I couldn't function. Hadn't worked out in like 2 weeks, and I felt like shit. So that wasn't fun, but
Like,
I got
another
to
thing-
get Chicago pizza, so that was good.
Yeah. You get migraines. So that was like when someone said
Yeah.
like you get them previously, like it's not really a symptom, but if you get them when you never get them, that's when it's a
Yeah,
symptom.
exactly. This is the worst I've like ever had them, but that's why it made me be like, fuck, this is what Matt said he had it before
Yeah.
getting sick. Like, but I've been fine. It's been a while, but
Yeah.
Melissa have been staying at my house at that point.
Yeah, we came back in quarantine for 14 days and I felt like shit.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think it was COVID. I think it was.
Do you think it's just like the
being kind of sick and then making poor decisions that made me more sick? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm the type of person that like if I feel shitty and tired and like I have a headache or like I have like the chills, I don't have an appetite to eat healthy food, I'll just like eat sugar. And
Yeah.
then that like obviously makes me feel like shit more. And then I just got into this like, it was like a 4-day period where I was like being a little bitch.
Yeah.
But then it was, well, my ear was clogged too, so it was making me in a bad mood. And then everything like cleared, and then I just kind of like picked myself up and was like, you're not actually sick, you big baby.
How was your parents after it? Fine.
They were fine.
Yeah, we haven't seen them in a long time, and we were like planning on having real Christmas like
Yeah.
as soon as we all came home and our quarantine was over, which obviously now we're at a complete stay-at-home order, so we can't. We're not supposed to socialize with anyone that we don't live with.
Yeah.
So now we
They've been living here, by the way.
Yeah, we live here right now because we don't have a home actually right now.
We don't have a kitchen.
We don't have, we don't have a kitchen. So I feel like it's like sad because we were all looking forward to that. But we're hoping it'll clear in February and then we can have Christmas in February.
Yeah. So what's the only thing you can really just go to like the food store?
Yeah, well, essential services are open. So whatever Ontario has deemed to be essential, which is the grocery store, the fucking LCBO.
Yeah.
I get a massage once a week to get out of the house.
Yeah, that's massage work, chiropractor, dentist, therapy, things like that. You can leave the house for, but anything else you're not supposed to leave the house for.
So now, like, if you guys were to go back to the States and stuff, do you still like? Isn't it you can still come to the States and be fine depending on where you go, or you have to quarantine coming from Canada?
I think it's the entire country now. You have to quarantine.
Is it?
Yeah.
Day one, I think Biden.
Your new president chose that. I think.
But that's like that's from country to like country, not state to state.
No, I think it's Canada specifically.
Specifically, Canada coming to the States, you have to.
Because we do it so much.
Yeah.
All Canadians are like, Canada's in lockdown. Let's go to the US. And they're like, fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, why? We're bringing money to their economy.
COVID.
They have the COVID. We do not have the COVID.
We have it too.
I know, but like, if you're gonna say like the risk of like country to bring it to the country.
Yeah, but if we're gonna get into what our government's doing based off risk, we can
that's true.
We're open a whole other pot.
Let's not even. I just choose to not even question it anymore because nothing really makes any sense.
No,
that's like at the same time, like. I try to like, I mean, I used to get like annoyed at all this stuff, but at the same time, it's like you can control what you can control. And like at the end of the day, it's the government. Like you're not gonna win that battle. So
exactly.
Just follow the rules.
Follow the rules and stay positive and work on your own shit. And that's about it. Yeah.
2-week quarantine wasn't horrible for me at least, but
I mean, you have like, it's the full basement gym, like the one you guys used to train legs at all the time? That's the one?
Yeah. Well, we have Iain's basement gym, but I didn't go that for I didn't really work out for 5 weeks, honestly. My shoulder's destroyed too, so I haven't been working out. But we've been going back for the last like weekish since we've been out of quarantine. It's been nice to at least have that too.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have that kind of private place, but
I feel like faithful or whatever. I have faith that things will open up.
Hopefully.
At the end of February.
I haven't seen you guys in like in a year.
I hate that quarantine rule because I wanted to come down and we were gonna just like set up and bring Maddie down in like Florida or something and like chill if we stay shut down here. But like that would be a week quarantine in the US and come back to 2 weeks quarantine here. Like that's not worth traveling.
Yeah,
no. And I think I feel like there'll be some sort of like testing to like omit that, you know what I mean?
Like a rapid test to get you out of quarantine.
Like I understand being safe, especially when like people are traveling, but like just like have some sort of like logistical test set up so you can say like, okay, you're negative, you can come and you can live.
Well, I have a feeling it's gonna end up being like you're gonna have to show like a vaccine card or something.
Well, that's like 2 years out though. There's not enough vaccines.
Oh, I know. So that's why, like, I mean, they're gonna have to try and figure that out. And like someone like me, I can't go get even the vaccine now because you can't have it within a certain point of like having COVID.
Yeah.
So I don't even know that. I mean, I haven't really followed it as much lately, just because it's just like so much for so long that you're like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just start to adapt.
And
like what you can, what you're allowed to do.
Yeah.
What you're allowed to do. God.
We can go to Cabo. There's nothing there.
It's true. Come back.
Yeah, you just can't go back. But how's all the dogs together? Good.
I mean, they're a little crazy.
My dogs are like fighting more, and it's stressful, but that's okay.
At least we figured out why. They attacked each other yesterday in a crate, and it was kind of like scary. I mean, they're fucking Frenchies, so they can't do much.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, we found out there were 2 food pebbles behind the crate on the floor,
Uh,
and one of the bee is obsessed with food. She was just in there staring at it, I think. And then Doug walked up, and she thought he was coming for the food, so they attacked each other.
Yeah.
2 kibbles that are hidden underneath a blanket underneath a crate. And my dog smelt it and then became territorial over the crate. Like, she so crazy about food, I can't even explain. Like, she's a psycho.
It's been
God.
entertainment though. At least have 3 Frenchies and another little whitey. Little
Ellie's just like never mentioned. Nobody cares, you know.
I mentioned her.
I know you did. I don't mention her. Oh,
The other dogs don't really like her because they can tell she's different.
yeah.
One of these is not like the other.
Oh God.
You guys got anything else about the trip?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a recap of life. It's been, when you think about it, it's pretty lucky to have an extending past. I mean, boring 4 weeks before that. Like a lot of shit going on compared to most people in the world right now.
Yeah.
People will be listening to this. How dare you traveling during this? But for work purposes, it's our life.
How is it with Calvin living there?
It was all right. He might tell you different, but
Did you yell at him a little bit?
I gave him some sass for sure. I never yelled at him, but I gave him some shit for sure.
He wanted to go home by the end. That's for sure. By the end, he was very homesick.
Yeah. Well, he's someone who like.
He loves.
He still lives at home. Always has, and like he loves his friends and his setup and everything at home. So like
his
he doesn't
routine,
even
his places.
Yeah, he wouldn't even want to go to like an all-inclusive. If you give him a free trip to Mexico all-inclusive, he'd rather stay in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like he just loved it. So by the end, he just wanted to be back home. But
yeah.
It was good.
He worked really hard. He was like editing all hours of the night.
He pretty much lived on his laptop in the kitchen table for 4 weeks.
He had this like home base, and it was like he was always there.
He really stepped up his game. I said to him from his his videos obviously, but like his photography's gotten so good.
Yeah, his photography's gotten a lot better. He didn't put that much time into it the year before, and he did this year, and he's so quick too. It's so nice. You do like a shoot and be like, okay, got it, let's go.
Yeah,
and you're like, sweet. And then his bullshit shoots that take like 4 hours for 2 pictures. You're
so
like,
unnecessary.
Yeah. As long as you didn't kill him, that's okay.
Not quite.
They didn't fight.
No. I'll just kill him if he doesn't have this video done in the next month.
Yeah, where's the
video, Calvin?
Just, like, stopped. What's the last video that was up?
Before the Olympia.
Sometime in peak week.
I mean, it's been tough with you though, because you guys have been in quarantine, so it's not like you can.
Yeah, he needed pieces from us to do, and we didn't really send them to him until 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago.
Well, yeah, all 4 of us. Like, it took us like, we procrastinated, and then it took like probably 7 days for him to get all 4 of us to send him what we were supposed to.
Yeah.
Iain was obviously last, so that's our fault.
But yeah, hopefully that show day videos will be coming soon. They'll be worth the wait.
Yeah,
for sure.
He's doing a 2-part, right?
I hope it's a 2-part because it'll be a 2-hour video.
You're going into acting now. 2-hour movie.
I could never act.
All right, want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that's a good little recap on what the fuck we're doing. We'll be back next week with maybe something specific or a Q&A or some random bullshit. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll do something fun.
Until then, thanks again for listening. We're happy to be back, and hopefully we don't disappear for another 2 months.
Season 2.
Say that. Say that we will not disappear for another 2 months.
We will not disappear for 2 months.